Today we are going to learn about Level 2 intervention strategies. The essential question for this session is which strategies target the students who chronically disrupt the learning environment? And how can I use these strategies to maintain the integrity of my learning environment and of my classroom management plan? By the end of this session, we hope that you know the appropriate uses for Level 2 strategies and know that all Level 2 strategies should not be implemented at the same time. We want you to understand how to appropriately implement the Level 2 strategies, and by the end of this session, you should be able to choose the strategy that best suits you, your organizational style, and your students. The Level 2 intervention strategies that we will discuss today include the Success Card, 3-2 letter, the red folder, and the success folder. The success card is a strategy in which a time card is created and broken into increments according to how long the student is in your class. For example, in a 90-minute period, a card can be broken into 15-minute increments. You would determine an acceptable goal for each day. One thing to keep in mind is to not set the goal at perfection. Students who are at Level 2 intervention are usually giving quite a bit of trouble in class. If we set it to perfection, the student is more likely to fail. In each time increment, mark when the student has met the goal. You can use an initial, a sticker, or a stamp. And finally, determine the outcome for when the goal is reached. The outcome could be a positive note or phone call home, a coupon similar to the ones shared in the Proactive module, or regaining a privilege. You would set the goal and outcome with the student to promote success with the strategy. An alternative at the elementary setting is to break the day into subjects. 3-2 letter is a strategy where the student starts the day or period with 3 sticky notes on his or her desk. Anytime the student has to be redirected, a sticky note is removed from the desk. Just as a side note, if you think the sticky notes on the desk would be a distraction to other students, you can modify this strategy to best suit your classroom. If any sticky notes remain on the desk at the end of the class or period, a positive note is sent home to the student. But if all the sticky notes are removed before the end of the day, the letter is saved for the next day. The letter can be substituted for any other method of recognition. Again, it is important to choose a recognition that is meaningful to the student and something that he or she would be willing to work towards. The red folder is a strategy that can be used for students with chronic discipline problems. In reality, the folder does not have to be red. Choosing one type of folder promotes consistency for the student. The red folder does not have to contain the disciplinary actions listed in the example on your screen, but should contain at least 3 interventions before the office referral. Each intervention should be filled out completely except for the dates. Explain to the student that if they are not on task during class, the folder will be placed on his or her desk as a warning. No verbal correction should be given. Let the folder be the silent warning. Continued disruption will result in the first consequence being pulled from the folder. Once the first consequence is issued, the next time the student is disruptive, they will receive the next consequence. Another side note, if you think placing the folder on the desk would be a distraction, modify this strategy by simply holding the folder and making eye contact with the student to serve as the nonverbal warning. The important thing is that this remain a private, nonverbal communication between you and the student, and not something that distracts the rest of the class. As the student uses consequences, they will move towards greater consequences, eventually resulting in an office referral. When the student returns from the office referral, the folder is reset, giving the student another opportunity to work through the interventions. If your student is not responding to the red folder strategy, you may consider using the success folder instead. Any student at Level 2 intervention could receive a success folder. The student or teacher may add notes to the folder documenting successes. The folder can be sent home each week for positive reinforcement. Note that you should only document successes. Once a success is documented, it should not be taken away. Determine a goal for reaching a certain amount of successes in a time frame. Refer back to the documentation samples shared at the Proactive module. Documentation at this stage is critical because a student may be approaching an office referral. Parent and guardian communication is also essential to the success of this stage.